If you're needing some last minute Christmas DIY inspiration, then look no further. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name's Liz. Today is my last Christmas DIY video of the season. So if you're looking for some last minute Christmas DIYs and some Christmas inspiration, then I've got some DIYs I think you're gonna love. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump on in. For this DIY, I grabbed a 12-inch round from the Dollar Tree along with these word cutouts from Michael's. They say Jingle all the way, and I believe that they were $2.99 and then they were on sale as well. I'm going to start by adding some wood filler in those holes on our round sign, and then I'm going to stain each of my words. This is the Voodoo Gel Stain from Dixie Belle. I always have their website linked down below, but I love their stain because there is no smell to it, so I can do it in my craft room without getting a headache, which is super important to me. So I am just going to go ahead and stain each of those words. After that is done, I'm going to take my wood round and I'm going to paint it with one coat of my Waverly chalk paint in white. After that's dry, I'm going to take some tape. I am going to take a little piece of tape, use it as a spacer to create some stripes. So I just lay my spacer down, add my horizontal stripes, and then remove that spacer and put it back down on the other side and add some more tape, and I'm just going to do that same thing across the entire round. Once all my tape is on there, I'm going to use my Dixie Belle Barn Red chalk paint, and I'm going to paint each of those stripes with one coat of that color. And then I remove the tape. Your paint doesn't necessarily have to be dry. I do it when it's about halfway dry, and I'm just going to remove all of those pieces of tape. And then I'm gonna set out my words, making sure that I have them in the arrangement that I want them, so I can go ahead and glue those down. To glue them, I'm just using my super glue wood glue that you can get from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to glue each of the words down. Next, I'm going to take this ribbon that I got from Hobby Lobby. I'm going to tie a super simple shoelace bow, taking 2 loops and tying them together. I'll play with the sizes of the loops until I get them the size that I want them. And then I'm also going to take a piece of jute twine and some bells. I got these from the Dollar Tree. I'm just going to take 2 of those. You are going to loop them through your jute and tie a knot so that your bells are nice and secure on your string. And I am going to do that to 2 ends, and then I'm going to tie a knot at the top, making it so that one bell hangs lower than the other. I'll go ahead and hot glue that to the back of the bow, and then I'll glue the bow down to the top of the sign, and that is it for this DIY. I think this looks super cute. You could use this as a door hanger, or you can just use it as a sign sitting on your shelf. For this DIY, this is one of my wooden craft kits. I've gotten a lot of messages about wanting to see a tutorial on how to put this together, so I am adding it in today's video. This is everything that this kit comes with, all the pieces, so you can double check all of yours. Make sure that you have everything that you're supposed to, which you should. And I'm going to start by painting the base pieces with my Waverly Wax and Antique. I'm just using this as a stain. And for the bottom base piece, you don't necessarily need to cover the entire thing since that top piece will be on there. You do want to make sure that when you're putting this together that your base pieces are put together the correct way. One side is longer than the other when it comes to the hole in the middle, so just make sure that you are matching those up correctly. Next, I'm going to paint my roof piece for my barn and the window and the door piece with my Waverly chalk paint in black. I'll also go to one of my bigger barn pieces, and the window that is cut out in there, I will go around and paint that with my Waverly chalk paint in black as well, just so that it matches the other window. I'm going to paint my silo with my Waverly chalk paint in silver lining, and I'm just going to go around that entire thing. For my barn, I'm going to paint it with my Waverly chalk paint in white. You only need to paint the top barn since the backing you'll be covering up anyways, so don't worry about painting the backer for the sign, just paint the front barn. And I like to make sure that none of the white paint gets into any of the engraved lines. So I like to take my time on a small brush and go around those engraved lines. Next, I'm going to paint my trees. I'm going to paint some of them with my Waverly chalk paint in celery and some of them with my Waverly chalk paint in moss. I wanted two different colors so that there was more dimension than just one color of all the trees. And again, if you're not sure where to stop painting for the trees or for the silo, you just continue painting over, and then you can take your front piece and set it on top of it, just so that you can get an idea if there's any pieces in the back that still need to be painted. I'm also going to be painting the wreath with my Waverly chalk paint in moss. The bow for the wreath will be painted with my Dixie Belle Barn Red. Now that I have everything painted, I'm going to move on to adding details and accents. So for my silo, I'm going to take my Waverly Wax and Antique and antique it. I want to make it look a little bit more rusted, and I go over the engraved lines and circles on there, along with going around all of the edges. I do add a small distressing to my barn itself, just on a small brush. I just lightly dry brush the entire thing, just dragging my brush over with a little bit of that wax on there, just to make it look a little bit more weathered. For my roof piece and my windows and the door, I'm taking some sandpaper and I'm going around all of the edges and really roughing that up. For my trees, I'm going to take a really small detail brush. For my lighter trees, I'm going to take the darker green and I'm going to add all these little squiggly lines to it. I'm going to do that on all of my lighter green trees. And then for my darker green, I mixed the moss color with a little bit of black, and I am going to do the exact same thing, just adding those squiggly lines. And then I will go over each of those squiggly lines with my Waverly chalk paint in white, and I'm just adding all those details on here. I love that it makes it look like the trees have snow on them, and I think it turned out really cute. I do add some white chalk paint onto my wreath as well, just to give it a little bit more detail. Now for behind my windows and my doors, I'm going to take some paper. This paper pad comes from my website. Right now through December 31st, all of my scrapbook paper is 25% off. I will leave a link to my scrapbook paper down below, so if you want to check that out, you can. All of my scrapbook paper, chipboard, stickers, stencils, all that good stuff is all on sale, 25% off through December 31st. So if you want to check it out, like I said, I will leave that linked down below. But I'm just going to take this scrapbook paper. I love that it made this look like it was snowing in the windows and in the doors. I just think it looked really cute. So I'm just going to add some glue with a glue stick to the backing, and I will glue those down, and then I will start assembling my barn. So all I'm going to do is add my super glue wood glue. I'm going to add that to my front piece just all over, and then I'm going to layer that right on top of my backing. I'm going to take the roof of the barn and I will glue that down, just making sure that everything is nice and even and where it's supposed to be. You can go through and add your little pieces like the top of your silo, just using that super glue wood glue, glue that down. You can glue your window down, and you can add your tree. With this tree, you just want to make sure that the bottom is lining up with the bottom of the front piece that you're putting it on. I'm going to glue my bow right on top of my wreath, and then take my wreath and glue that right to the middle of that front window. Now I'm going to add the base to my barn next before I add anything else. So I'm just going to glue my two base pieces together. Now again, you want to make sure that you're putting this on correctly. You can see on that right hand side that the tree is hanging over. That's not supposed to happen. So all you need to do is just flip that around. I hadn't glued it down yet, so I can just flip my base around, but you do want to make sure that the base is on before you glue your door down, just so that you can make sure that your base will fit where it's supposed to. So I just take my door and glue it with the bottom touching the base. And then same with this last tree, just add some glue to the back and then have the bottom of the tree touching the base. And that is all you have to do for this kit. I love this one. It's still available for purchase on my website. I'll have it linked down below, but this one is one of my favorites that we made for Christmas. I absolutely love it. And if you need a little bit of help and inspiration on how to assemble it and how to paint it, I hope that this helped. For this DIY, this is the Couture Christmas houses. Now, I really wanted these done for my home for Christmas, so I figured I might as well put it in a video to show you guys how I did it. I'm going to do this super simple. I'm taking my houses and I'm painting them with this metallic gold. Now, this gold really thinned out as you painted it on, so I did have to do about 3 coats on each house, and I just painted the front. I left all the sides and the back white. Once those are all done and dry, I'm going to use my Couture surface wax that I also purchased from Couture, and I'm going to add those to the front of my houses. I'm just doing this because I don't want any of the paint to come off and I don't want any bleeding. So I'm just going to buff that wax into my paint, into my surface, and make sure that is all ready to go. I'm going to take those houses that I've cut out and I'm just going to lay all of those transfers right on top of the houses, trying to center it as best you can. Now you can do these as fancy as you'd like. You can make each little piece a different color. I tend to like things a little bit more simple, so I'm just using the chalk paste in bright white and just going over the entire thing. Like I said, I personally prefer things to be a little bit more simple, but if you want this to look really colorful and fancy, you can absolutely do that. I just did the bright white for all 3 of my houses, and I think it turned out really cute. For this DIY, I have all of these metal rings. Now, these all came from the wall shelves that you can get from the Dollar Tree. In my last video, I did a ton of DIYs using these shelves. I'll link that below if you want to check it out. But I had the rings and all of the rope left over, so I wanted to try my hand at making a DIY with these rings and rope. So I'm going to start by cutting out some strands from this rope. Now I probably made these about 3 inches long or so, maybe 4. You probably don't need them that long because I am going to end up trimming these down quite a bit, but you are going to need 14 strands per one ring. And what I'm going to do is take a strand, fold it in half, add the ends through the metal loop, and then string the ends through the rope loop. And then you'll just pull those ends as tight as you can get them. And like I said, you are going to have 14 of these per one metal loop. So after I've got all of those on there, I'm just going to add my last one here, pull that really tight, and then I'm going to go through and unravel each of these strands of rope. So they all unraveled into about 3 pieces. I'm just going to go around the entire thing and unravel them all. After that, I'm going to take a comb and I'm just going to comb through all of the little ropes, make it look nice and fringy, and it's kind of like, you know, we're making a little macrame type project here. So as you can see, everything is very uneven. I'm going to take my scissors and go around the entire thing and try to even it out as much as I possibly can. I did not do this perfect by any means. None of my circles were, you know, an exact circle, and each of my pieces looked a little bit different, which is totally okay. You don't need to make this absolutely perfect, but I just tried my best to get them as round as I could get them, and I just kept trimming until they were all nice and round, and then I used that one as a template for all the rest of them. So I'm going to repeat this project with all of the rest of my rings. After all of your rings are complete, I'm going to take these 3 love signs. These all came from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to remove the little wreaths that are on the front. I'm going to flip it around to the back because we are going to be using the back as the front. I'm going to heat up those stickers on the back. I had a hard time getting these off, so I ended up using my CRICUT scraper tool and just kind of scraping them off. Sometimes they come off nicely, sometimes they don't, but if you just heat them up a bit, use some sort of scraper and just scrape them off, they will eventually come off. I'm going to flip it onto the front side of the signs. I'm going to use these jumbo popsicle sticks and some hot glue, and I'm going to hot glue all 3 of these signs together. Now on the front, I'm going to paint this with one good coat of my Waverly chalk paint in moss, making sure that I get all of the front and sides painted. I took this long level that I got from the Dollar Tree and a pencil, and I drew some lines. I essentially just drew the lines exactly where the signs meet. There's already a little bit of a line there anyways, so I wanted to accentuate it just by using a pencil, and I'm going to take my finger and kind of rub that in, make it look a little bit more faded, but I wanted this to look more like a shiplap type sign. I'm also going to distress it using my Waverly Wax and Antique and a chip brush, and I just went over all of the sides and then very lightly went throughout the middle. Next, I've laid out all of my little rings and I'm making a tree. So I'm going to do 4, 3, 2, 1, and I just used my hot glue and just hot glued these all together. I tried to get them as evenly spaced as I could and making sure that they weren't going crooked towards the top, so I tried to get everything nice and even. And then after I've got those all hot glued down, I did have a little star that came from the Dollar Tree, and I just hot glued that right to the top, and that's it for this DIY. I think this one is really fun, definitely different than anything that I've done on my channel, very unique to my channel, but I still think it turned out really cute. For For this DIY, I took one of these wall shelves that came from the Dollar Tree. They do come in a pack of 2. I'm just using one of them. And I'm going to fill in all the holes using some wood filler. Once my wood filler is dry, I'm going to paint it with my Waverly chalk paint in white. And I just painted the front and the sides. I'm going to take my surface wax from Couture because I am going to be using a transfer on this. I use the wax to help with bleeding, so if that's something that you're experiencing, try out the wax. It personally has helped me a lot, and I just rubbed that all over. I wasn't sure exactly where I was going to put the transfer, so I just buffed that into my entire sign. Next, I have these really cute house cutouts. These came from Michael's. They were $2.99, I believe, and then I got them on sale. I'm going to use the This Home Believes transfer that came in the mini pack from Couture, and I'm just going to set out my houses, get them in the arrangement that I want them. I'm going to paint 4 of them with my Waverly wax in antique, just giving them a stained look. And then for my 5th house, I'm going to use my Barn Red by Dixie Belle. And I just gave that one good coat of that color. After that, I'm going to lay my transfer down in the bottom left corner. I am going to tape over the house on the transfer because I just want to use the words on this one. And I'm going to use my Candy Apple Red chalk paste from Couture, and I'm just using my little squeegee to get that paste on there. And then I'll just lift that up to reveal the words, which I think turned out really cute. It did lift a little bit of the paint off from the wood filler that I put in, but I just used a little paintbrush and touched that up. And then to finish it off, I'm just going to glue down each of my houses. I tried to get them as even as I could with each other, and this is how this sign turned out. I think this is really cute. I'm loving just kind of a more simple look to my home decor lately. Nothing too bold and crazy, but sometimes the simplicity of home decor makes things feel a lot less chaotic. So I think this one looks really cute sitting on a shelf. That's it for today's video. I hope that you guys enjoyed this. Let me know which project is your favorite down in the comments below. Again, all of my paper, stickers, stencils, chipboard, all the good things on my website are 25% off. Just add them to your cart, click checkout, and you will see the savings there. So if you want to check them out, I will leave my link down in my description box. But that is it. I hope that you guys have a fantastic rest of your weekend. I hope that you guys are getting so excited for Christmas and the holidays and all the fun things, spending time with family. That is the thing that I am looking forward to the most, just being able to relax and be with my family and be in the moment. And that's what I'm gonna do. So make sure to subscribe before you guys leave. Give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.